to Travolting, covering lucky numbers. Enjoy the episode.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Stuart. How are you? Are you feeling lucky? Do ya, punk? Are you feeling lucky numbers?
How many number of times have you used voices with me, Jeff?
A lot.
Would you say a lucky number of times?
I would say an unlucky number of times, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever play the lottery?
Once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm not like I don't like get the tickets every morning, but I played it every now and again.
Say I do as well.
Yeah.
You know who else plays the lottery?
John Travolta in this movie.
In this
Lucky movie.
2000.
Yes.
We're
in the 2000s.
We're in the 2000s. I mean, we've been in the 2000s since last week.
Yes.
But like last week was such a monumental.
Yes, this is our first post Battlefield Earth episode. Our first post Battlefield Earth movie.
How are we feeling off of that episode that we just covered?
Insane? Crazy?
I'm a little sad.
A little sad that he flew too close to the sun, burned up, and now
He didn't just fly too close to the sun. He went into the sun.
He went into
he
it.
thought he was Superman and could absorb the radiation and heat life.
And did not quite work out so well.
And guess what, John? You can fly, but not like Superman.
Yes.
You fly planes.
Yes, you fly planes at 30,000 feet, no more, no less.
And you went straight into the sun and burnt it to a crisp and came crashing down like Nicolas Cage in The Knowing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. But yeah, he's coming off of Battlefield Earth. So we're still in the same era of our podcast. We're still in the A-list era of Travolting.
Which we've had like our conversations about.
Battlefield Earth starts the decline, but he's still coming out of that movie an A-list actor.
Because like he has some other successes after this.
I would equate it to, and I dislike having to bring this person up, but this is essentially the equivalent of Johnny Depp after, like Lone Ranger, Alice in Wonderland era.
Yeah.
Where it's like he's like flop after flop after flop. Johnny Depp's still like a big star at that time.
Yeah.
It's not until, the crimes are committed by Grindelwald that he's well and truly out of the A-list category.
Right.
But yeah, like at this point, Travolta, he's still A-list. He's still big. He still comes to the Oscar ceremonies. They have him present things. He pops up in cameos in movies, which we're going to cover very soon, as like John Travolta, someone who Hollywood knows.
Right.
But he's making, starting with this movie, we can equate this to his 1980 Blowout with Blowout, where that movie was a flop and he got scared. And he started making what seemed like damage control decisions that only proceeded to damage him further.
Yeah.
He's doing the exact same thing now.
Right.
Because what did he do after Blowout?
He did a sequel to Saturday Night Fever.
He did a sequel to one of his hits. He did a reteaming with a director, like a light director from a few years prior, with Two of a Kind. And what we're seeing right now is, what is this movie? A light reteaming with a director from a few years prior. What is one of the next movies we're covering? A sequel to one of his hits. Be cool. Which we'll be covering soonish. But he's making the same mistakes coming out of Battlefield Earth that he's making coming out of Blowout.
Yeah.
Where he's like, okay, I need damage control. I need people to like me again after that. I'm going to slip back into the cool, suave Travolta that they all know and love. When he, as an actor, had grown out of that finally.
Yeah.
And this movie is just a harbinger of what's to come. It's he just doesn't have hits after this point.
Yeah, not really.
He has movies that keep him treading above water, and then the movies that are the bricks dragging him further down.
Hairspray, Bolt.
Yes, Hairspray and Bolt. I mean, those are hits, but those aren't John Travolta vehicles. Those are movies with John Travolta in them.
Right.
This is still a John Travolta vehicle, and it does not do too well for him.
In probably all respects.
Yes, but what if this movie's kind of good, though?
All right. Folks.
I've been teeing up like this is like the beginning of his decline, but I'm like, what if this movie's kind of good, though?
It's not.
What if it is?
It's not though.
It's kind of good.
No, it's not.
What if it kind of is?
It's not good.
It's not good, but what if it's kind of good?
It's not even kind of good though.
It's a little kind of good.
I'm interested to know why you think it's kind of good.
Well, this is a reteaming with Nora Ephron, his director from Michael, coming back a few years later after she has also kind of had a rejigger of her career.
Yeah.
You know, Nora Ephron started out with some Tom Hanks hits, Sleepless in Seattle for one. And then she does, Michael Mix Nuts and has a little bit of a career decline around that time in terms of respect. Comes back with You've Got Mail. She reteams Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. Kind of has her groove back on. She says, I'm going to reteam with Travolta. Michael was a hit for me. Hence this movie. So the two of them are both kind of coming off of a recent, punch.
Yeah.
And deciding, let's reteam, let's make another hit. Does not go so well. But she, this is Ephron's only film that she actually didn't write, that she's directing.
Yeah, she's just directing, not writing it.
This film's written by Adam Resnick, who is a David Letterman writer. So it's kind of interesting. He had written The Larry Sanders Show, which is a phenomenal show. But this is one of his few, big screenplays that's been produced. He's mostly a TV guy.
Interesting.
And I think it shows where Ephron's at in her career. That this is the first time she's working with someone who's not, one of her own scripts.
Yeah.
She's kind of taken the hit, and she's like, all right, I will direct this movie.
And just not write it.
And I think that's a big problem with this movie. There's a lot of problems with this movie has all the makings to be a hit, a big time movie that Jeff is very into. This is my favorite. This is one of my favorite subgenres of movie, where it's small town America, a botched goofy crime with a bunch of big characters.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is exactly the type of movie that a Coen Brothers or a Steven Soderbergh would make into a really engaging, entertaining, fast-paced, quippy, wacky hit. The problem is, for me, Nora Ephron's too much of a classicist to really get this movie the energy it needs. Because this movie to me is an airplane, one of John Travolta's favorite things, where it just it has all the fuel it needs, but it can never get off the ground. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Imagine this movie directed by the Coen Brothers. It has a lot of Fargo feel to it. Or I watched a few days ago Logan Lucky again, this Soderbergh film. This is a lot of Logan Lucky.
Two people way out of their depth.
Just small town American people, low status individuals who want to be high status, get into a crime way over their heads with a bunch of shady characters, and just watching the comedy of errors of things getting bigger and bigger and ratcheting up on them, and they're just out of their depths.
Yeah.
John Travolta's pretty much playing William H. Macy from Fargo in this, where he just wants some money and winds up in this massive criminal investigation.
Yeah.
All John Travolta wants is to pay off Dale the Thug.
A snowmobile business. Let's not forget.
Yes.
And he's a weatherman, by the way.
He's a weatherman.
Russ Richards.
Yes. And that is why I think this movie is still kind of fun, because even if it doesn't succeed at really getting it off the ground, it still has all the individual pieces that I really enjoy in this kind of subgenre of film. Mm-hmm. This movie markets itself, and the description I had rented it from, as a hilarious comedy. Stuart, you seem disenthused by that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, here's the tagline for this movie that I think insinuates everything I like about this genre. The tagline is, when they put their heads together, it's a no-brainer. Get it?
Yeah, I get it.
It's that's a good tagline. And it sells this movie that this movie wants to be, that I want it to be.
So, okay, pause. I hear everything you're saying, Jeff, about the genre and the subgenre of movies that appeal to you.
Yes.
I can picture in my head Fargo and very Coen Brothers-y, and for some reason I thought of Horrible Bosses, the similar type of three
Horrible Bosses is too high status of a movie. It's too this needs to be set in a very specific type of community. And Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is the community.
Yeah.
Where it's so removed from where outsized personalities like a local weatherman can be such a force in this movie.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Sure. but I think I understand like the type of subgenre you're talking about. The problem that, I mean, there are lots of problems I have in this movie. For one, like there isn't ever like a complete thought in this film. Everything is just like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And there's nothing that ever happens because of something. Like there's no like premeditated thought into future events into the script at all. Everything just happens.
And that's kind of part of what I like about it. And that it's just like crazy events consistently occurring.
But like even like I feel like at least in Fargo or maybe even in other films, it's like there's at least some underlying consequence because of a character's action. Whereas this movie, like bad things just happen.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's all because of Travolta just like being unable to make simple choices. Everything gets ratcheted up.
Well, and also like it's just bad luck. Meaning the script, like the screenwriter just fucking...
Counterpoint.
Okay.
You're saying that this movie, so much of the things that happen in it is about bad luck. The title of this movie is Lucky Numbers. This movie's all about luck. And rigging your own luck. And how that usually leads to an offset of bad luck.
I mean, I hear that, but at the same time...
And I'm not saying this movie fully succeeds at that.
No.
But that's the idea.
Yeah. I guess I understand like where you think this movie was attempting to go for and your appreciation in that attempt. For me, it's like I can't even appreciate that.
You can't appreciate the attempt.
I can't appreciate the attempt. I think for this entire movie was just such a jambalaya of thoughts.
Yeah.
And somebody sitting behind a typewriter thinking like, what if this happens? And what if this happens? And why don't we bring this person into it? Why don't we bring this person into it? Oh, what happens if this person gets involved? Like, and nothing ever like solely fleshes it out. And then the end of the movie is just like, and they all lived happily ever after. No questions, done. I'm like, wait, what? Like, okay.
I think this goes back to our Get Shorty episode a little bit, in that I like convolution in movies, and you are not generally a fan of convolution.
No, it's more so like convolution.
Like in Get Shorty, where everything is just so overly complicated that it's funny.
There's complexities and then there's ambiguities. Very different things. And I feel like this is more like has more ambiguities than complexities in it. Like, what is complex about this movie?
Not even like complex in like a narrative sense, but convoluted in like a sense that halfway through this movie, Bill Pullman is playing a cop who doesn't want to do paperwork.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't want to do paperwork, he keeps getting stuck in these situations where he's busting major crimes. All based on his desire to not be involved in these situations.
But see, for me, he doesn't come into the movie until like halfway over when it's done.
Exactly. And I love that this movie just throws that wrench in halfway through.
And for me, it just reads as throwing in a wrench halfway through. Like, to me, it doesn't seem like it was very premeditated at all. Like, it's like, oh, and by the way, we're going to throw this cop figure into it, and he's going to bust the whole thing down, but not on his own accord. Like, great. Like, what if he had, like, 20 extra minutes of screen time to set himself up, and then to, like, throw him into it? So at least we have some sort of...
the mix, brother.
Yeah, like, at least, like, have some sort of audience connection to him in some sense. Before just like, hey, your settlement case or whatever with your back, like we see you shoveling this, so we're gonna bring you back and put you on a case.
Because like his whole arc in this movie is he's a cop
that doesn't want to be a cop. Yeah,
and he just accidentally keeps becoming the hero, and he solves everything at the end.
Yeah,
he gets like commendations for it.
Yeah. I mean, all of this to me just screams like lazy writing.
It's the funny convolution that I like. It's like that scene in Get Shorty where Gene Hackman doesn't want to get out of the bed, so he lays there for 5 minutes arguing about getting out of the bed, when getting out of the bed would have been faster.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of like humor that I enjoy. It's just like this human behavioral stuff.
Yeah.
And I like that this movie's playing it. And like I said, I don't think this movie fully succeeds. I don't think it ever gets off the ground. No. But I see what it's going for, and I find a lot of enjoyment in some of the aspects of it.
Shall we talk about the movie?
Yeah, let's talk about the movie.
Did you have any more context corner things?
No, that's basically it. They're both on Travolta's starting to scramble. I mean, this was in production before Battlefield Earth.
Yeah.
So he's scrambling a little bit. When it comes out, he's like, I hope I have a hit here after whatever the fuck Battlefield Earth was. Dear reader, he did not.
So Lisa Kudrow's in this.
Lisa Kudrow from Friends.
And nothing else.
I mean, yeah, what else has she done?
She's Lisa Kudrow. Like that's it. Like that's after watching this and knowing her from Friends, it's like it kind of solidified a lot of things of my thoughts of her as an actor, which is like she has like one mode, and that is like crazy psychotic person mode.
Yeah,
she's gotten like much more sophisticated at like nowadays. Like she's been in some stuff now.
Yeah. She's in Dr. Dolittle too. She's in both Boss Baby movies. So that's a big deal.
She's in Space Force.
Yeah. Space Force.
But like now, like I feel like she has a little more sophistication to her performances. But back then, just seems like her role was always like she's a psycho crazy person. So.
And that's who she's playing in this.
Yeah. Okay. So
we get introduced to Travolta through a little monologue of his.
Another voiceover of Travolta.
And he's setting up how he's like the hotshot in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
It starts off very similar to a civil action.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what is his deal? He's a weatherman for the local news channel, WTAB, I think it's called.
Was your local weatherman this hot in the block? Because mine was not.
No, but I'm from Philly. Harrisburg is a very different place. I have family on Harrisburg. And it is a smaller community like this, and I can very much see it being like this. Also, this movie was set in 1988, so...
Oh, yeah.
More people were watching the TV.
True.
And, like, a local weatherman would be, like, a source of... Like, everyone would know this person.
Yeah.
But he sets up, he's, like, the hotshot in town, and he's really selling himself. It's really playing off of the Travolta, like... what's the word? The Travolta personality that like he's developed his media personality at this time. The charisma, the high status, self-confidence. Like he's like, yeah, I got a prime parking spot at the local bistro and something even named after me. And he pulls into a Denny's. And he does have a spot in the Denny's that says Mr. Richards.
Yeah.
And he has like a burger named after him at the Denny's. But I think it's very funny. He's really selling himself as this high status individual, this big guy.
Yeah.
But everything we're seeing on screen does not represent that. Like he's pulling into a Denny's. He runs a snowmobile company that's underwater because of an unusually warm winter. Okay, here's something I think is so funny in this movie. He's running a snowmobile company that is going underwater because of an unusually warm winter. And then his other job is as a weatherman who has to continuously every day forecast that the weather is not getting better and also forecasting his business is continuing to fail.
Yeah.
I think that's just a good little detail.
Yeah, I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
That bit was funny for 2 minutes.
And he's trying to get some money.
Yeah.
And one of the ways he's trying to do it is by auditioning. He wants to be a game show host, and that's his dream.
Yeah.
Which tells you exactly what this guy is.
He does these like impressions to himself. It's like, with your host, Russ Richards.
Yeah. And
I will say, I do think Travolta has a lot of fun in this movie.
Yeah, he has a lot of charisma in this movie. Ooh, dogs be barking. The audience is hearing that there are a bunch of dogs shrieking outside.
Yeah, we record this in just a regular studio or an apartment in Chicago. We don't have like anything fancy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's why my roommates are always walking in, as you folks know, or the prospective roommates, because we've had like Bill Clinton and Sling Blade pop by after Jack left.
Thank God nobody showed up in the Battlefield Earth episode, though.
Yeah, I mean, as an insurance policy. I think I might actually have a showing today, but we'll see. But Travolta, he keeps talking about he had a meeting with an agent 8 months ago, and he's like, this guy's gonna get me in a game show. This guy's gonna get me in a game show. He finally calls the agency and is like, hey, why haven't I heard from this agent? And the guy's like, oh yeah, Mr. Kornberg is dead.
He died 8 months ago.
He died 8 months ago, immediately after meeting with you. It's so good.
Yeah. We also see Lisa Kudrow.
Yes.
She's the lottery girl.
Yes. She's the one who's like, she pulls the balls and is like, 12, 27, 1, 2, which is great.
Why is it great?
There's not actually great. They're just like setting up they're putting the dominoes out that they're going to knock over later.
Yeah.
And so Travolta, he goes to meet with a local what even is Tim Roth's position in this movie? A local mob guy? He's involved in something.
Yeah, he's got
his
connections.
Australian accent going on. That's my Tim Roth now. His name's Gig.
His name is Gig.
He runs a strip club and he's connected with the mob.
How does John Travolta know him?
It's just established that they know each other.
Yeah, that's it.
So he goes to see Gig.
Is there a Gig in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania who has connections with the mob?
I mean, Gig is the only one who knows what's going on in this movie. He looks at the camera at the end.
Yeah, he breaks the fourth wall.
Gig suggests, you know what you're going to do, Russ? Insurance scam. He sets up, just let me know.
A fake robbery.
He's like, I'll hire a bunch of guys. They'll fake rob your snowmobile place. You get the insurance policy. Bing, bada, boom, you're set.
Yeah. And so John Travolta agrees to it.
He sees this vision of like these tough, like mass criminals
pulling up in a fancy car.
They all look like Agent Smith from The Matrix.
They have like a laser pointer that like cuts a hole out of the glass, and he thinks it's gonna be like a Mission Impossible heist.
And then, so Travolta agrees. We cut to the real crime occurring. It is not a fancy car. It is a beater.
It is.
And then who gets out of the car? Stuart, who gets out of the car?
What's his name?
Michael Rappaport. He just pops out and he's like, hey, I'm going to bust this place open, you know?
If anyone has ever seen Atypical, the Netflix series, Michael Rappaport is the dad. Mm-hmm. But he's also known for...
Michael Rappaport is the best.
He's known for his hit movies like True Romance, Deep Blue Sea.
He's known for being the best. That is all. Is that Michael Rappaport is known for being the best.
Well, what you got with Michael Rappaport?
He's the best.
Okay.
Just listen to him. He makes videos on Twitter where he just yells about things. He's just like, hey, what the fuck are you talking about, huh?
And that's Michael Rappaport.
But he's so funny in this movie. He's playing Dale. And he comes out with a baseball bat. And he just busts the front door open.
And we haven't established that John Travolta, Russ, has like this business partner for this.
Yes, named Larry. That's his name. Played by Michael Weston.
Michael Weston from
who doesn't exist.
What happened to him?
He was apparently in House and 6 Feet Under, but I've actually never seen him aside from this movie.
He wasn't in anything else, really.
I mean, he was in a bunch of stuff, but he's like a day player in a lot of shows.
I just wonder what happened to him. I wonder if he's okay.
He's okay. He's still alive.
Yeah.
He's 47 now. Michael Weston lives in New York, New York. But he has an assistant who's in there like fanoodling with one of his lady friends.
Yeah.
And immediately calls the police.
Police bust.
Police immediately show up and arrest Michael Rappaport and his guys. Whole scheme fails.
Yeah.
Travolta at best gets like $100 payout from the glass door that they shattered.
And he gets a phone call
from Dale.
From Dale the Thug.
We'll establish that. We established later that his full title is Dale the Thug. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just Dale. It's Dale the Thug.
Right.
I love this movie. He gets a phone call from him in the middle. He's like, "You owe me $40,000.
It's $10,000.
$10,000. I better fucking get it. I'm a rat like nobody's business."
Right.
So now Travolta, in addition to needing money to save his snowmobiles, needs money to pay out the criminal he hired for his previous insurance scam.
Yeah.
So he meets with Gig again to plan another scam.
And he proposes
the Pennsylvania lottery.
Yeah.
Because they call the numbers on the show. all they have to do is put some weighted balls in the machine.
And then and except for the numbers that they choose.
Yes.
And then they'll win the lottery.
Yes.
So he says you need, and he brings Lisa Kudrow into this. And she agrees with it too. Why?
Because he thinks he's gonna have to like smooth talk her, and he's like, so I got an idea. Smash cut to them in a car, and she's like, we're gonna be rich, and he's like, I thought that'd be a hard to sell.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But they need a patsy. They need
the beard.
The beard, they call him. They need because they're gonna get the balls ready with Gig's help, get them in the machine. She's gonna distract the security guards so Travolta can slip it in when he's not looking.
Yeah.
And they need someone who's gonna actually have the numbers. So who do they bring in, Stuart? Tell me, who do they bring in? Because I would just like it to emphasize
they bring in Michael Moore.
They bring in Michael Moore, director of Bowling for Columbine, Fahrenheit 9/11.
And who does he play?
He plays Walter, her asthmatic cousin.
Who masturbates a lot.
But also runs a church.
An interesting character.
I have no idea why Michael Moore is in this movie. But he is. It's just a baffling casting choice that I love.
And Michael Moore plays the cousin.
Yes.
Of Lisa Kudrow's
her
character.
Cousin, who says they're gonna give him 100,000 of the 6.4 million, and he says he's gonna use it for his church to buy a new furnace.
I thought it was 20,000.
I think they say 100, or maybe it's 20.
Because later in the movie, he sells a lottery ticket for 100,000.
Yeah. He said, "Oh yeah, it's 20." He says, "I'm going to use it to buy a new furnace for my church." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great." Well, he's like, "I'm going to use the rest of it to open an adult bookstore." And he's like,
"Do you masturbate a lot?"
He's like, "Do you masturbate a lot?" He's like, "They say that masturbating is a sin, but I believe that God gave us the ability to masturbate to avoid sin."
Sex. At least Kudrow's like, "I think sex is great."
Michael Moore actually good in this movie.
Yeah, probably the only good thing in this movie. Although John Travolta has some good moments, and Tim Roth.
Dale the Thug is the best. No disrespect.
I will say, now as I'm thinking about it, there are a lot of like good individual performances in this.
A lot of like good one scene performances and shit.
Dale the Thug, Gig, Tim Roth.
Yeah.
Also, the bookie, who is played by, what's that guy's name?
Richard Schiff.
Yeah, he has like one good scene.
Richard Schiff is great.
And then he gets fucking diced.
Yeah. in what is described as the most poorly executed murder of the century.
Oh, God.
This is the shit that I just love in this movie.
I know,
it's just like,
I know it's your bread and butter.
Yes. But so they decide they're gonna rig it, and they successfully rig it, and they get the winning numbers.
Yep.
But then everything starts to fall apart.
It starts off with like Richard doesn't want to give Lisa the ticket.
Yes.
Because he first thinks, why am I only getting 20,000 when you guys are getting like 6 million? And he's like, maybe I should be getting more. And then eventually, like,
so he has an asthma attack.
He has an asthma attack because Lisa like causes it. She tackles him to the ground and like slaps him around.
And she doesn't give him his inhaler.
Nope.
And he dies. Michael Moore dies.
He dies. She murders him.
And then she steals the
ticket.
The ticket from inside of a blow up doll. It was in the mouth of a blow up doll.
A sex blow up
doll. Yeah. She has to stick her hand in there and pull out the ticket. Yeah. She leaves his body there and calls the police and is like, he had an asthma attack. He want us to have the money though. That's what she tells Travolta. She's like, yeah, he died. It was so sad, but he wanted us to have the money.
Last words were like, you should take the money.
Yeah, take the ticket. It's in my wallet.
So, I wrote down she effectively murders him.
Yes.
And then there's a scene in Gig's strip club where the bookie comes in.
Richard Schiff. Playing Jerry the bookie. I like that people in this movie just have titles of first name, The Thing.
Right.
He's just Jerry the bookie. There's Dale the Thug.
Yeah.
And Jerry the bookie comes in. And Tim Roth is talking to him.
And he's like, my grandkid told me or a story or something where it's like...
It's this convoluted story about Richard Schiff's grandson, telling him like... just talking way too complex for his age to him about how a bunch of people shouldn't be able to win the lottery at the same time, which just so happened that like 5 of Tim Roth's relatives all picked the right numbers when it comes to cooking the books this week because they use the lottery numbers to match the the book numbers. And so he pretty much threatens Tim Roth, like, I see what you're up to. Who's Tim Roth play a call to? Our good friend Dale.
Dale the Thug.
Dale the Thug, who murders Richard Schiff by beating him with a baseball bat.
Puts him in like a body bag.
And throws him in the river.
Yep.
And Tim Roth's like, I'm never going to hear from him again.
He's done for.
And he tells Travolta, we're never going to hear from him again. Don't even worry about it. The problem is, this is where we get the name drop of Dale the Thug. Because he's like, yeah, my associate. And Travolta's like, Dale. And he's like, yeah, Dale the Thug. And from that point on, Tim Roth only ever refers to him as Dale the Thug.
I love that.
Because that's his full title.
Yeah. It's also at this point when the TV station manager. So, yeah, we forgot this role. There's a TV station manager.
Played by Ed O'Neill.
And he finds one of the filled up glue balls. And that's when he kind of puts two and two together. That, like, he sees a video recording of the lottery drawing and how the balls aren't floating to the top. They're just sticking to the bottom. And so he puts two and two together, and he sort of finds out about the lottery scheme.
Yes.
But then, Dale the Thug comes back and threatens Russ.
Yes.
Says, I killed that guy for you. And
Russ is like, I don't want anyone killed.
And it's like, you know what? I don't want the 10,000 anymore. He's like, you don't? It's like, no.
500.
I want $500,000. He's like, what? $500,000? It's like, yeah.
Like Robert's like, I want $500,000, no?
And so now John Travolta has to pay $500,000 to Dale the Thug. And then the TV station manager calls Lisa Kudrow, John Travolta in his office, and he tells them he knows about the lottery scheme, and he says he wants half of the winnings. So he's got to pay half the winnings to the TV station manager. He's got to pay $500,000.
Yeah.
He's like, and there's one funny joke that I actually kind of like in the movie where he's like, I got to pay $500,000 to this guy. I got to pay half the whole money to this guy. I got to pay out this. Like,
he's like, I'm in debt again. And that is the moment when I was like, I'm kind of locked into this movie. Was that it just got so convoluted for Travolta. He's now in debt again, having won $6.4 million.
Which he still hasn't cashed in yet.
Yeah, and so Gig is just like, he was very off, like, just casual this entire time. He was like, let's kill Dick. Just kill Ed O'Neill. And Lisa's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. And it's at this point that Bill Pullman gets involved.
Yes.
And who is Bill Pullman in this movie, Jeff?
He's playing a cop named Pat Lakewood, Detective Lakewood. He claimed he was injured, but the police got a video of him like hitting an axe in his backyard, proving he is not injured. So they force him back onto the force.
Force him back onto the force.
Force him back onto the force.
I love it.
And he's with a young cop who really wants to prove himself. Hiccup.
You okay?
No, I'm dying.
Need to take a break?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. No,
Did you say you have a showing today?
A showing? Oh, yeah, I might. We'll see if he shows up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That Jeff just gave me like a really strange look at that. He's giving me a strange look. Before we go any further, I can't forget it in this movie because this is the one. This is like the first time in a while I have to talk about it. The hair.
Yes.
Cue the hair making music. This is the hair ranking report. He has short hair in this movie.
Yes.
Like buzzed cut short hair. Like it's really short.
It's really short. I think this is the movie where our logo came from.
You think so?
I think it might be.
Wait a minute.
Like, look at the Travolting logo with his short hair. I don't think it's from this movie. I think it's from this era.
He looks a little older, though. Don't you think?
That is fair. That is true.
Like, he just looks a little bit older and a little bit more leaned out in that photo. But it is very similar short hair, the one that we have in our logo. But yeah, it's very short hair.
Yes. How'd you feel about it?
I mean, everyone knows about my preference with the long hair Travolta. Yeah. It's not a secret anymore. But at least this is something. This is so sad. It's getting to the point when like anything different. I mean, we just talked about Battlefield Earth last week,
which was different.
Which the Battlefield Earth, you guys all know where it ended up on the hair ranking, so I don't need to repeat it.
The dreads.
The alien dreads.
Turl. Remember Turl, our best friend Turl?
Turl turning me on with those alien dreads.
I'll get him Turl.
Oh, yeah.
Stuart is staring at an action figure of Turl that I have on our desk.
Turl. The fucking eyebrows and the beard.
Turl.
Alien dreads just fuck me up. Yeah. Okay, anyway. But, that was its own thing. This is like back to regular hair Travolta. But it's not quite regular hair Travolta. It's something new. It's something different.
Something different.
So, can I see the hair ranking report?
Yeah, of course you can. You can always see the hair ranking.
Pretty, please. Put it below Phenomenon, above Look Who's Talking.
Below Phenomenon, above Look Who's Talking. Whoa! A new number 18. Which is still not a high number. I don't think we're ever going to touch the top 10 again. Maybe Bolt?
Well, we did talk about Battlefield Earth last week.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, that's why I said again. Again.
Anyway, I love, like, audience members, if you're, like, a little confused right now, you obviously didn't listen to our Battlefield Earth episode.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go back and listen to the Battlefield Earth episode and listen to the hair ranking. Because that was a doozy for me.
That was... You had a personal battlefield.
I had it was not just a battle, it was a war but within myself.
Yeah.
Of the alien dreads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
The alien dreads.
Oh, God.
Turl.
Okay.
Turl.
Okay, so moving on. That's the hair ranking.
Yes.
So they find the bookie's dead body.
Yes, they find... Jerry is killed. And Gig's like, oh, they're never going to find him. And then immediately cut to Travolta in the newsroom. And the news story is... Body of local bookie found in river in most poor like cover up ever, in which he was smashed with a bat and then duct taped, tied up, and thrown into a river with a single brick tied to his leg, which did not pull him down.
No, so he floated back up.
So he floated back up, and the body was immediately recovered.
Yeah.
At this point, Michael Rappaport talks to Travolta for a little bit. And he's like, the bats that I've been using have been commemorative bats that I bought, and I want to get new ones. And Travolta, he's just talking about Dale the Thug. And he's like, Lisa, or what's Lisa Kudrow's name in this? What's her name?
What is her name in this, Jeff?
What
is Lisa Kudrow's
Crystal.
name? Crystal.
So he says, like, this guy beats people to death with commemorative bats. He's crazy. I just love the detail that Michael Rappaport only uses like commemorative historical bats to kill people.
Commemorative historical
like
bats.
You can just get a normal bat from a Dick's Sporting Goods. It has to be commemorative.
Love to see it.
A small brick taped to one wrist is what I wrote down for the body they recover. And Bill Pullman's put in the case of figuring out what happened to this guy. He wants to just write off as like, hey, we found the body. That's it.
It's like, you guys don't know it was a murder. You guys all scream foul play. He could have slipped and fell.
And they're
it's
like, yeah, he slipped
was
and fell.
Duct taped and smashed by a baseball bat with the brick tied to his wrist.
And he's like, could have been, an accident.
Yeah. It's like, if you read the report, that's like a common reoccurring joke.
That Bill Pullman does not read the reports.
He does not read the reports at all. It's like, what time did they fish up the body? Was it at 6 or was it at 8? It's like they fished it up at 6 and they bagged it at 8.
Yeah. So at this point, everything's off the rails.
Oh, yeah.
So as the Wikipedia's plot synopsis this says, mayhem and murder ensue.
Yeah. Travolta sells the ticket.
Yes, he sells the ticket to Dick for $100,000 because he wants to be clean of all this. He doesn't want any more involvement.
Right. An honorable, but
yes, an honorable goal.
Right.
He's just like, I want out of this. He's like what's the actor's name in Fargo? William H. Macy at the end when he's just trying to like squirm his way out of it.
Yeah. And he tells
Crystal's immediately
this.
furious.
Yeah.
So she's like, I need to get back good with Dick because she was sleeping with him at one point.
Yeah, she was sleeping with him and Russ
at
Richards
the same time.
At the same time.
And so she leaves Russ and goes back to Dick and spends the night with him. Yeah. And while that's happening, who breaks in? Dale the Thug. Who comes in with another commemorative bat. See, isn't it funny?
It can't just be like a regular metal
It has
baseball
to be
bat.
a commemorative historical bat. He's like, yeah, this one's from when Hank Aaron and he walks in, and Dale, like, he starts smashing things in the bedroom with Crystal and Dick there. And he says, I'm hopped up on wine coolers and antidepressants right now. We gotta get this show on the road.
What?
And he breaks Dick's legs with the bat.
Yeah.
Crystal runs off.
The cops show up.
The cops were following Dale the Thug.
Yeah.
Because they found out, like, he was apparently in a bar saying, I killed that bookie.
Yeah, bragging about
And
it.
Bill Pullman's like, why are we following this guy? And his partner's like, he said he did the crime.
Read the reports.
And so Bill Pullman's partner, like, rushes in to try and be the hero and save the day, and gets hit with a bat and shot in the foot.
Yeah.
And then Bill Pullman happens to be in the right place at the right time outside when Dale the Thug runs out, and he shoots him and kills him.
Yeah, they
and
like
becomes the
tackle
hero.
each other. There's like a rustle and bustle, and then Dale lifts up his bat. Bill Pullman gets the upper hand and shoots him and kills him.
Yes. And now Bill Pullman's the hero, and he solved the crime, supposedly. Meanwhile, Travolta, with his $100,000 from Dick, is trying to get out of town.
And he's got
His
a buyer
excuses.
in Colorado
Who's going to buy all of
the
his snowmobiles for
snowmobiles.
$30K, which he says is a pretty low number.
Yeah. Well, and so he has like a semi truck, which he does not have a CDL class license at all.
So he loads up all these snowmobiles that are not sung because there's no snow. And what happens the second he finishes loading the truck? It snows for the first time all season.
Yeah. Like,
he could have just waited.
These are all like funny bits, but it's also like, to me, the reason why it's not my personal thing, and I understand why it might be yours. It's like, all it took was a screenwriter to go and snow.
Yes.
Like, oh, great, fine.
It's just good dramatic irony for me.
I know it is, but it's not earned dramatic irony. Like, we didn't earn that; it was just given to us. But again, I get it. I understand. So, wait, why are you checking your phone?
Nothing.
What?
I think someone might be on their way.
Is someone on their way?
Someone might be on their way.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I don't know about this.
I think you're no longer furious about this.
Oh, wait.
Oh my God, Stuart, would you look who just walked in the room? Oh my God, who is it? Stuart, turn around. Tell me who it is. Oh my God, he's coming this way. Hey, I know you're here to check out the apartment. Come on over.
Jeff, who is that in your apartment?
It's the Mandarin. Come on over here. Some people call me a terrorist. I consider myself a potential subletter. Mr. Elmore, ready for another lesson.
Wait a minute.
What? What? It's the Mandarin. Stuart, it's the Mandarin.
Wait a minute. Wait. Why is the Mandarin here?
He's looking at the apartment. He's looking for a place to... Is it Mr. Mandarin, or should I go by Trevor? Mandarin will do. Okay, so Mandarin. So what's going on? How you feeling about potentially subletting? Ever since the Extremis project didn't work out, I've been trapped in character. The Toast of Croydon. Yeah, you sound a little different than you did, in the height of your days, in your Iron Man 3 days. So what do you think? You think you're gonna take the apartment, or let me check? All right, Mr. Mandarin's gonna go look at the room. Stuart, can we continue about lucky numbers? What? He's rocking off with his robes.
That is not who I thought you were going to have show up today.
He's a fake terrorist, but he's really in character. They call him the Toast of Croydon.
I'm curious, Jeff.
Yes.
Whenever you do this, whenever you have friends over,
yes,
they're usually ingeniously scheduled out to where the person who actually shows up.
This will do fine. It's got beer and the birds. It's glad to hear it, Trevor. It's Mandarin. Okay, Mandarin.
But usually when you have like a friend over,
Yes.
they have some correlation to the film we are covering.
Yes.
And I know there is one character in this film whose impressions you do fairly all right.
Yes.
And yet...
The Mandarin showed up.
Yes. No,
he's coming back. He's coming back to the mic. He's coming back to the mic.
Oh, God.
True story about fortune cookies. They look Chinese. They taste Chinese. But they're actually an American invention. Which is why they're hollow, full of lies, and leave a bad taste in the mouth. My disciples just destroyed another cheap American knockoff. Lucky Numbers, the motion picture. I know this must be getting difficult for you, Mr. Elmore, but this season of terror is drawing to a close. Your voice sounds a little different. It doesn't sound like usual. It sounds like me almost. I will depart. Okay, the Mandarin's leaving. He's walking out. Bye, Mandarin. Stuart, wasn't that great?
He's still
wasn't that the best bit ever?
Why is he just standing in the corner?
Oh, he doesn't have anywhere else to go. He's just gonna hang. I think he fell asleep. Oh my God, he fell asleep. Yeah, he fell asleep.
So we're just gonna do this with that here. We're just gonna do this all. The rest.
Yeah, we'll continue to talk about lucky numbers. Stuart, why did you seem to be on the impression Tim Roth was coming?
I didn't say Tim Roth.
You said
I didn't say Tim Roth.
Yeah.
Let the record show I did not say Tim Roth.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well.
Let's finish talking about the movie.
Talking about lucky numbers. I'm sure the audience loves this. They probably think this is the best thing ever. They probably don't say, Jeff, stop doing this bad thing because you know it annoys Stuart and no other reason why.
Like, we have the hair ranking.
Yeah.
We have the White Castle bit.
Yes.
We have our Steven Spielberg Star Wars Episode 8 bit.
Yes.
I think we're okay.
You think you're okay?
I think we're okay.
Think we're good on bits?
I think we're good on bits.
Well, this isn't a bit. I need to get this apartment sold. Jack Nicholson really put me in a bind with that one.
I didn't kill my wife!
He really put me in a bind with that one.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where we were.
Yeah, well, I know exactly where we were. So John Travolta, he's selling all these snowmobiles to an outdoor park in, where's it at? Colorado. And so he loads them all up. It starts snowing. He gets in the truck, and Larry's like, "Take me with you. I want to be with you. You and me on the road." So they get in the truck. They pull it out of the parking lot, listening to "We Are the Champions." Truck immediately flips over.
Again, why?
Because John Travolta doesn't have a CDL, and it's slippery.
Well,
he's damned to stay in Harrisburg.
And also, just the writer decided to make that happen.
Yes. Well, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
This is where I think the movie starts getting a little overlong. This should have been a crisp 90. And so it's like an hour.
45.
Hour 40. It's like an hour 50.
Yeah.
Which is just a bit too long.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but Travolta sees the cops coming. And he's like, "I got to get out of here." So he hops on a snowmobile with his 100,000.
Oh, let's not forget, he throws a crowbar
at Bill Pullman.
At Bill Pullman's car.
And Bill Pullman's just like, "Hey, do you need help?" But he thinks he's after him for the money. So Bill Pullman, he's still there.
Fucking dare.
He's still there.
Don't you fucking dare.
So he gets on a snowmobile.
Question.
Yes.
You were checking your phone earlier.
What?
Open up your text messages.
What do you mean?
Open up your text messages. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
What?
Becca!
She's not here. She's outside.
Can she hear me?
Probably not.
Becca, can you come in?
I don't know what you're talking about. Let's resume the...
You...
We don't want to wake him up. We gotta hurry.
If I have not woken him up already...
He's in the Odin sleep.
All right, let's fucking finish this podcast.
Okay, so he gets on the snowmobile. And this is the moment that I actually laughed hardest at in this movie. He gets on the snowmobile, he's about to take off, and Larry's like, "No, don't take that snowmobile. It only has this much RCX V8 power or something like that." He's like, "Hop on the 440," because it's established that Larry's only skill in life is knowing the qualifications of snowmobiles.
Okay.
And so Travolta like gets off the snowmobile and hustles over to the one that Larry's recommending, and just like whips off, immediately crashes into a tree.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up in the hospital. Bill Pullman's like, "You're in big trouble." And Travolta's like, "What am I in trouble for?" Bill Pullman's like, "Well, to start, $300 for the windshield." And then here's 2 speeding tickets for driving the truck and the snowmobile. And that's it.
Yeah.
But Russ has become a local folk hero at this point. Everyone wants a picture with him and his autograph. And it all winds up for him at the end, doesn't it? Because he finds out that
he gets
Dick with his broken legs
from Dick, yeah,
are there. So he sneaks into his room, takes his ticket out of a Larry King book, and then cashes in the money with the help of one of the waitresses at Denny's that he's friendly with. And he uses the money, moves to Florida, becomes a game show host for a show titled Lucky Numbers. And that's his finale. I mean, then we get a little clip show thing with what happened to everyone else.
Yeah, everybody else, as if it was a true story.
Crystal is a dancer at... excuse me. Crystal's a dancer at Gig's Club. God damn it. Gig used all his share to... he invested in Microsoft, a small company named Microsoft, and became a billionaire. Who shuttles between his nightclub in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and his estate in Italy. And then Tim Roth looks at the camera and winks because he has self-awareness. And then Michael Moore's dead, obviously.
Yeah.
Dick leaves his job and becomes a teacher of ethics in journalism school. And Russ is just happy with his life being a game show host finally. And that's the finale.
That's the finale.
That's the finale of Lucky Numbers. A pretty fun little movie.
It was
a gentleman's 6.
I would give it a 4.
A 4? I would give it a gentleman's 6.
Actually, I probably would give it a 3.
Oh.
No, 4. Jesus Christ. All right.
I can't control the man.
What are some final facts? Details about the movie, Jeff.
So this movie comes out. Thing I forgot to mention in Context Corner, this movie's actually based on a true event.
Yeah.
Very, very loosely. In 1980, there was a fix on the Pennsylvania lottery that was immediately picked up on by the police because it was just the numbers were too similar. I don't think it was handled in the exact same way, but it was roughly like the basic idea of just like rigging the balls in the machine. Mm-hmm. But what let the police know is that the number pull was 666, which they were like, "Yeah, it's a little dodgy."
Right.
So it's loosely based on a true event, but not something that's well known. Like the movie doesn't really stick to truth.
It doesn't owe a lot of factualness to it.
Yes. So movie comes out. Shortly after Battlefield Earth, a few months. It does not do well.
Yeah. This
movie has a 23 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is only one more than The General's Daughter, movie we covered 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It makes a total of $10 million on a $63 million budget. So it loses $50 million. We're really seeing, this is when Travolta's toxic right after Battlefield Earth. And just this movie suffers from the impact of that. It also releases in October, which is not really a time of year you'd expect this type of movie to come out. Mm-hmm. It comes out 4 days before Halloween. Why would you go see Lucky Numbers on Halloween?
Right.
And then afterward, it gets, as I said, bad reviews. Travolta wins the Razzie Award this year for this and Battlefield Earth.
2.
He wins... it's a single award for 2 different things. So he's really just hitting rock bottom around this point with his impacts. And he's going to start struggling a lot more in the coming episodes that we're going to see. Excuse me. I can't control the Mandarin. Some people call him a terrorist. He considers himself a teacher.
I can't believe you invited a terrorist.
Hey, he says, like I said, some
home.
Consider him a terrorist. He considers himself a teacher.
Great. Awesome.
It's almost like I watched Iron Man 3 recently. I was really scrambling for someone to come visit today.
What? What do you mean? You had the perfect opportunity for somebody to visit today.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, bits.
We don't do those. We've
never done a bit.
We've never done a bit on this
Never in my life. This movie also is one of the 4 films that receives an F Cinema score in 2000, which is rough. I don't even know how this got an F Cinema score. This is not bad enough, nearly bad enough to get an F Cinema score.
To you.
To me, yeah, but like F Cinema score is usually reserved for like something that's totally unapproachable to an audience.
Like
movies. Let's see. The other movies that received F Cinema score in 2000 are Eye of the Beholder, Dr. T and the Women, and Lost Souls. Have you heard of any of those movies?
No.
Exactly. Movies that do not exist. This kind of exists.
Okay.
Stuart's tired.
Well, the Mandarin here has put me to sleep.
Yeah, I gotta usher him out of here before the police come. I mean, if he wants to pay rent, he can stay. But yeah. Anyway. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode on lucky numbers. Tune in next week for our episode on Swordfish, everyone's favorite movie.
Is that really next week?
Yeah, next week is Swordfish.
Wow. Okay.
Swordfish.
Great.
Swordfish.
It's
a swordfishing week. We're going swordfishing, Stuart. You and me. Swordfish. Swordfish.
Just close out the episode, please.
Swordfish.
Oh,
he's awake.
He's awake.
Swordfish. I'm a fan of that film.
Of course you're a fan of that film.
Swordfish. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Tune in for our episode on Swordfish next week. I'm just going to start that episode by screaming Swordfish.
Okay.
Make sure to rate, review, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. As a reminder, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Find us at Travolting Pod on Twitter or Instagram for updates and fun stuff. You can pop to our Reddit, r/Travolting. Email any comments or questions to travoltingpodcast@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter, at Jeff W. Sweeney.
Find me on Instagram, at Stuart Elmore 95.
Find me on Twitter, at TrevorSlattery27. Thank you, Trevor. Special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design and Michael Van Bodegum Smith for the theme music that's taking you guys out right now. Have a lucky numbers kind of week.
Bye.